This is BBC One.
Good evening. There have been 4 arrests so far as a direct result of last month's programme, including one man charged with attempted murder, rape and a number of other serious offences. But the one clue that seems so strong it must surely get results has surprisingly led nowhere. This shirt, or at least one exactly like this, it's medium size, it was marked number 1, a goalkeeper's shirt, was found near the scene of a rape in Darlington. Who is it who stopped wearing this shirt in early August? This is how witnesses recall the rapist. Someone must be able to put the face and the shirt together. Please ring if you think it is someone you know. 0500 600 600. Easy to remember, and there's no charge for the call. You can dial it for any of our cases.
And first tonight, we need your help to find a man who, like the owner of that shirt, is without doubt a continuing threat to the public until he's caught. Just over 7 weeks ago, in the West Kensington area of London, a woman was attacked as she arrived home after a shopping trip. She was robbed and raped. The woman, who we'll call Julie Smith, hasn't been back to her flat since the night of the attack. Our reconstruction begins a few hours earlier that day in Gwendar Gardens, a small park close to where Julie lived. It's Monday, the 16th of August.
You're listening to Greater London Radio from the BBC. It's August the 16th and the weather, well, it's a lovely summer afternoon.
I was sitting down reading when a man appeared and I saw that he was indecently exposing himself.
Clear off. Just what do you think you're doing?
I wasn't afraid because I knew I was protected with the fence.
Well, will not.
But I was annoyed that this person could be on the street at 3:30 in the afternoon. I thought, do I go to this guy? And I stalled because I thought to myself, he may be dangerous. I noticed the car he got into was dark coloured and a hatchback type. The first letter of the registration was D.
An hour later, just around the corner, 2 women had been flat hunting.
It is absolutely lovely.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, that garden as well, you know, you could do loads with that.
I could.
Do you think?
I could. It's also southerly as well.
It is beautiful. And you're near the tube, you know, which is terrific.
It's not that far, is it?
Have you seen that bloke over there?
We noticed a man pacing up and down, and he looked over to us a couple of times, and he was genuinely quite strange and uneasy. And I told my friend not to hang around, as he made us both feel very uncomfortable.
Okay.
I'll give you a ring tonight about tomorrow.
All right, we'll speak to you later on.
Yes, take care.
Bye. We'll see you tomorrow.
This was in Glaisbury Road, where Julie Smith lived. That day, Julie had unusually taken a day off work.
My dad had actually died just a couple of days before. I mean, I couldn't face going into work, but I was still trying really to keep busy, and I was basically doing all the kind of chores that I never really got round to doing, just to keep myself occupied, really. I work quite late hours, I'm usually very busy, I go out quite a lot, so in fact, I hardly ever go food shopping. I go about twice a year or something and just buy Sainsbury's and keep the freezer stocked up for when I need it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hi. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I had to take the day off today. Look, I'll speak to you when I can. OK.
I
Yes, thanks.
got home to Glaisbury Road about 5:45, something like that. I parked the car. I had lots of bags in the car. I couldn't carry them all at once, so I grabbed as many as I could, and I went up to the communal entrance of the house.
Give me your money.
I haven't got any. Look, my credit card.
No, money. Do you live there?
No, upstairs.
Have you got anything upstairs?
I've got some jewellery. I've got a watch, that's worth a lot.
Anyone up there?
No.
Right, upstairs now. Take these.
It suddenly occurred to me that the watch was actually upstairs in the bedroom, and I started thinking, oh God, I shouldn't have said that.
Where's the watch? What's it worth?
I'm not sure. It was a present. I know it's very valuable.
Yeah. What else have you got?
I don't have any expensive jewellery. All the time, I was sort of frantically trying to find something that was worth money so that he'd basically take it and go away. And then he just, I think he turned around and I thought, oh God, I'm going to be raped. Please, don't. He raped me twice. He was very cool and he was very calm. I think everybody thinks that they would fight back, but when you're actually in your own home with somebody with a knife at your throat, you just don't think about fighting. You can't fight. You just want it to be over. I actually made a conscious decision that I really ought to try and remember as much about him as I could. He was late 30s, maybe early 40s, about 5'7", something like that, quite stocky. I saw from his eyebrows that his hair must have been sort of sandy blonde or reddish blonde.
The man took the watch and her cash point card before leaving. Only 20 minutes later, the man was seen in Putney High Street.
There was a guy standing at the cash point. I didn't take much notice of him. I realised that the machine was beeping and his card was being held in the machine. I thought the card must be stolen because he'd made no effort to get the card back. He hadn't pressed return card. He walked from the cash point to the car that was parked on the high street. It was a D-Reg Japanese car, dark grey, I would have said. Somebody else was driving and he drove off in the direction of Putney Bridge.
The next day, at a dealer's office in Hatton Garden, the heart of London's jewellery trade.
Right, tomorrow morning then. Come in. Can I help you, sir?
Yes. Do you buy watches?
It depends on the watch.
Right, it's that one there.
See.
I felt that he was behaving oddly, which I put down to his embarrassment at having to sell this watch, which was obviously precious to him.
Well, if you'll excuse me a moment, I'll go and consult my partner and see what he thinks.
Yeah, well, that's way below what I paid for it in the States.
He appeared nervous. He was wiping his brow, even though it appeared quite dry, really. And normally, if I'm in the shop with people on my own, they'll chat or say something, but he just seemed impatient, like he wanted to get out of there.
Well, my partner's not that keen on this watch, I'm afraid, but he says he'll offer you $350 for it.
He appeared totally convincing because whilst I hear a lot of hard luck stories, many of which turn out to be untrue, his seemed to ring true, and I accepted that. I noticed he was holding his pen not between his fingers, but in his fist, and he seemed to be writing very awkwardly.
I think I'm quite a strong person, but it has absolutely turned my life upside down. I find it hard to sleep. I'm frightened walking in the streets. I'm nervous of anyone I don't know. And I've never been like that before. It's just totally changed my life. I got the feeling that he'd done it before, and I'm sure he'll do it again. Absolutely sure of that. I want him locked up and I want him caught, and I want there to be absolutely no possibility that anybody else will have to go through what I went through.
Well, she's going to find it very difficult to come to terms with that attack. Mr. Swinburne, earlier that day, as we saw, there were 2 separate sightings of a man fitting a very similar description. Do you think they're all the same man?
Yes, we do. It was a hot August afternoon. For 2 sightings of the man, particularly dressed in this very distinctive dark blue anorak, yes, we think it's the same man.
So you've got a very good description then from all those witnesses?
We have. The man is late 30s, early 40s, about 5'7". He's stocky build. He has a pudgy face, reddish, ruddy complexion, short, receding, sandy blonde hair, the anorak he was wearing, and aside from that, distinctive black and white check trousers, something like a chef's trousers, and black shoes.
That could be interesting. And you think that his hair was shorter than our actor?
I do, yes.
Do you yourself believe that he's carried out attacks like this before?
This man was cool, calm and calculated throughout the whole of this attack. I believe he may very well have carried out an attack like this before that maybe hasn't been reported. If there are any women out there who have been attacked and think it may be this man, please phone us. Your calls will be treated in the strictest confidence. We need you to speak to us.
Right. Now, the watch is very distinctive, which could well help. Do you think it was offered to any other dealers before that one?
It may well have been. There was certainly one call, as a result of earlier publicity, where a man indicated that he had been offered this watch and knew the identity of the man offering them the watch. Please, would that man call us again? It may well be that it's been offered in another jeweller's. If it has, it's a distinctive watch. Could people please phone us?
It's got little diamonds all around the side and the inscription of the victim's name on the back.
That's right.
The car, finally, he was driving a little bit earlier, then later he was a passenger. What do you think about that?
It could be a minicab, it could be a friend's vehicle, we're just not sure. What we do know is it's a dark hatchback saloon, deregistration, possibly Japanese.
If you were the driver of that car, if you know any detail about this man and his movements, it could prove absolutely vital. If you've experienced that man, if you've encountered him at all, it's very important that you ring us. The number here tonight is 0500 600 600, or you can ring the incident room in Hammersmith direct, and that number is 081 246 2433. That's 081 246 2433.
The calls we took last month produced a flurry of results for photocall. 2 people have been charged with conspiracy to defraud, and a third, this man, has now been identified as Robert Hay. Do you know where he is? A picture of the so-called long-faced robber inspired calls from several viewers, including some police officers, and a man has been arrested and charged with 2 counts of armed robbery. Other similar charges are being considered. Next, a man wanted for an alleged unlawful imprisonment and sexual assault. Viewers led police to an address in Warwickshire and thence to Brighton, where 4 days after the programme a man was arrested. He's been charged with a number of grave offences against children. This man, though, Justin Martin-CLARKE, is still eluding the police. He's wanted in connection with a murder. Police warn if you see him, please don't try to apprehend him yourself. Now here are Superintendent David Hatcher and DC Jackie Hames with this month's Gallery of Faces.
Do you recognise these 2 men? At around 2:40 p.m. on Friday the 25th of June, they robbed the Alliance and Leicester Building Society in Cornhill, Lincoln. Threatening cashiers with a handgun, they managed to escape with a large amount of cash. Both men are in their late teens and about 5'10" tall. This man had short fair hair and was wearing a black baseball cap, and he spoke with a local accent. His accomplice had short dark hair and was wearing a navy blue sweatshirt, blue jeans, and he was carrying a head sports bag. If you can help with any information, please call us tonight.
And who is this? Colleagues from 2 forces want to speak to him in connection with a series of armed robberies. The first was on Thursday the 3rd of June when he went into the Cheltenham and Gloucester Building Society in Luton Town Centre. He threatened staff with a gun and demanded money. At the end of the month, he was at another branch in Checker Street, St Albans. Again brandishing a gun, he escaped with more cash. He caused terror to staff again on Thursday the 16th of September when he tried to rob the Birmingham Midshire Building Society in Marlows, Hemel Hempstead. A quick-thinking assistant managed to activate the safety screen and the man left empty-handed. He's in his 40s, around 5'10", with short, mousy brown hair, which is greying slightly. If you do know who he is, please call us tonight.
If you're in the jewellery trade, you may have come across this man. Over the past month, he will have had some rings to dispose of. Here he is on Monday, the 20th of September, in a high-class jeweller's in Chelmsford, Essex. Having managed to distract the assistant's attention, he made off with several expensive rings. Has he offered any of them to you? He's in his mid to late 30s and about 5'9" with dark receding hair. If you can help find him or the rings, please call us tonight.
And finally, we need your help in tracing this man. Officers want to talk to 50-year-old FAROUK NASRI in connection with the attempted murder of his former girlfriend. In the early evening of August the 25th, the victim was driving along this stretch of road near Coventry city centre. Her car was forced onto the grass verge by another car. She was then severely beaten with the butt of a shotgun. When a motorist stopped to offer help, the attacker drove at the pair, hitting the already injured woman and the other motorist's car. Perhaps you've seen FAROUK NASRI in London. He's known to frequent clubs and casinos in the West End, as well as night spots in Hampstead, Paddington, Marylebone and Maida Vale. If you do know where he is, or you can help with any of our other photo call faces, please call us now.
And this is the number 0500 600 600. That's 0500 600 600.
How could someone vanish on a 2-minute walk in the middle of the day through a busy shopping centre? All the indications are that 3 months ago in London, a man was ambushed and fought back against attackers. How could that have happened without anybody seeing it or hearing it? Detectives from the Met have been presented with statements and other evidence that on the face of it simply don't add up. Tonight they hope that Crimewatch viewers will help to solve the riddle. Robert Jones was doing tests for methane gas on a waste disposal site near Redhill, Surrey. Beneath a mound of white powder, he could clearly see a body. The powder turned out to be a form of lime, presumably placed there to hasten decomposition, but it actually protected or mummified the body. There was a perfectly preserved tattoo, and a picture of it was quickly dispatched to the Missing Persons Bureau. George Leitch had gone missing 4 weeks earlier, on Friday the 2nd of July. He came from southeast London and was married with a young son.
George was a really lovely fella. He was really popular with everyone. Everyone really liked him. He was life and soul of the party. He was a bit of a Jack the Lad, really. He really loved his son. He was a really good father. I just can't understand why anyone would want to kill him.
Whoever did kill him would probably have needed help. George was fit and proud of his physique.
That's mine. Have a double or nothing. Told you I was hot, didn't I?
George had been without a regular job for several months and spent a lot of time at a club known as The Bar in Beckenham, which he'd helped his brother-in-law, Martin, to establish. He was trying to organise a hen night for the following evening.
Oh, come on, it's going to be great. Phil's going to be the MC, you know, in all his garb. There's going to be a male strip of the lot. Martin will keep it going late.
George was a blinding guy. He was very kind, very generous. He was a true professional. He always loved to organise events.
Great.
He would make sure everything was just right, perfect. And to sum it up, I would say that George was the perfect entrepreneur.
I reckon we'll take over 1,500.
At any rate, he had been good in business, but his own bar, Gossips, had been smashed up by a gang. Some say George had been trying to stop drug dealing in the premises. Nevertheless, his livelihood was lost. The morning of the day he disappeared, Friday the 2nd of July.
Listen, what time are you coming home tonight?
I don't know. 8:30?
Oh, so I suppose that means 10, eh?
No, don't worry. I'll be there.
Yeah, OK.
George had arranged for Martin to collect him and take him to the bar.
See you down there, eh?
George was really bubbly that morning when he left. He did have a lot of problems, money-wise, but he didn't really let it show, and he was really looking forward to the evening.
one of the best musicals ever, the 1954.
Sunshine, yeah.
Oh, sorry, Mike. Can we go to Mum's? I've got to pick up a few things. And anyway, I said I'll meet Richard here. Won't be long.
All right.
Hi, mate. Sorry to keep you waiting. Hi, Mum.
Are you staying for a cup of tea?
No, no time. Oh, isn't she good to me? Thanks, Mum. I'll pick it up later. I'll just have a word with Martin and we'll be off. I'll see you down the bar. I want to have a chat with Richie. OK, mate. See you up there.
While Martin drove off to the bar, George set off with Richard.
Jesus, Richie, I'm having a lot of trouble with the brewery. I'm trying to do a deal with them to soften the loan. I'm seeing them next Tuesday.
What are you going to say?
I don't know. I did want to ask your advice. Hey, you coming tonight? Sort of a ladies' night upstairs and everybody else will be downstairs. I've so much to do.
Richard recalls dropping George off at roughly 12:40.
So I'll see you later, yeah?
Yeah, I'll give you a bell.
This is Beckenham High Street, about 100 yards from Martin's bar. Did you see someone dressed in this distinctive style anywhere at lunchtime or thereafter on Friday, the 2nd of July?
And she said, that's why they call me a corksocker. So he said to me, and what do you do for a living? I said, I'm what you thought the other two were. Well, I've got a lovely next-door neighbour called Vera. I was just, you know, doing a bit of gardening, cross-pollinating some marigolds with a red-hot poker. But, you know, I must tell you,
Mine? You seen George yet?
No, I'm afraid I haven't.
It wasn't just me asking, everybody was asking. Mum and sister were there, they was wondering where he was. Looking back, you know, I think we was all starting to get a bit worried about it because he just definitely would have been there if he could have been.
George Leitch had been stabbed 3 times, probably on the day he disappeared, and marks on the body suggest that at least 2 people were involved in killing him. But green grass beneath the body shows he hadn't lain here long. That means for 3 weeks, someone was concealing George's body. Steve Landview, that lime was a bad idea. It backfired on them in many ways. They used a lot of it, though. Where did they get it from?
Well, it's used in the building trade and agricultural fields, and I would appeal to anyone who's had that amount stolen.
How much did they use in total?
54 kilos. Or, in fact, maybe someone purchased that amount in mid-July or even June.
That's more than 1 bag, is it? I mean,
probably 2.
At least. OK, that would have been, what, early July, even in June?
Early June or July.
OK, the place where George's body was dumped is a place where many people might have seen something happen. It's about a quarter mile off the A25 Nutfield Road, a place called Cormongers Lane. Now, what do you want people to have looked out for and when?
Indeed. What I'm very interested in is any suspicious vehicle, particularly in the last week of July, because we now know, though he was found on the 30th, clearly he has only been there for a maximum of 7 days. We know a vehicle's involved because of the tire marks found and blue paint at a certain height on a nearby tree at the same spot.
So you know it was a blue vehicle, what, a van or a car or what?
I suspect a van, but it could have been a car.
So if anybody saw a blue vehicle, anyone there in the last week of July, sometime around that time in Cormongers Lane, you want them to call?
Indeed.
When he disappeared, I mean, the last sighting of him appears to have been in Beckenham High Street, but actually nobody saw him there.
Nobody saw him, and that's strange because he was well known, very well liked in that area. Somebody should have seen him, and it may be we can still appeal to people who may have seen him on that Friday the 2nd of July when he disappeared, or for that matter, they may have seen him in other parts nearby of South London.
Or have discovered his clothing somewhere. There's short trousers, the white shirt, black sandals are missing, and I think his jewellery is gone as well.
Indeed. When he was found, he was naked, so we're interested to know if anyone's been asked to dispose of that clothing, black shorts and white shirt. But what is most unique is the jewellery. And he wore 2 rings, both 9-carat gold, and a bracelet and a unique watch. The bracelet and the rings were square as opposed to circular. and they themselves are unusual. The watch was a French make, and as your picture shows, was quite unusual.
There's the watch, Emmerich and Mearson. If you've heard any rumours about this, anything at all, if you've got any information that you think just might help fill in this puzzle, please do call us here. The number in the studio is easy to remember and calls will cost you nothing. 0500 600 600. There's a very big reward that's been put up by the family on this today. Money has been lodged with the solicitor, £20,000. 0500 600 600, or you can call the incident room in Southwark. That's on 071 403 3850. 071 403 3850.
Well, on Crimewatch, back in February 1991, Cardiff police appealed for help with their inquiries into the murder of a young woman called Geraldine PALK. Investigations have been scaled down since, but the incident room has remained open. And last Sunday, a woman rang Cardiff police at Fairwater and left a message on the answering machine there. And we need that woman to ring again. She said she had important information on the case and asked officers to meet her at a particular local school. So if that woman was you, please would you call the Fairwater CID again? Officers are waiting for your call, and this is their number, 0222 222 111. That's 0222 222 111. And we're having a huge volume of calls today on all our cases. We've got a lot of calls on photocall there. We've got a lead on the owner of the goalkeeper's shirt. We're getting a tremendous response to the rape attack in West Kensington. 2 callers have said that they were offered that watch, and names are being given and checked. If you know anything or encountered that man, please do give us a ring. We need that information. The number here is 0500 600 600. And now with some more appeals for your help at the incident desk are Jackie Hames and David Hatcher again.
If you were travelling through the Stirling area in early August, you may be able to help solve an armed robbery. 500 yards from Stirling Services on the M9 is the Pern Hall Inn. Just after midnight on August the 3rd, 2 men entered the restaurant as staff were preparing to close up. They were armed and forced an employee to open the safe. The thieves put the cash into 4 pouches used by the restaurant. They're identical to this one. They took them away in canvas bags like these and fled in a dark-coloured Ford Orion with the registration beginning D4. Minutes after the robbery, the car was seen driving towards Stirling town centre along this unclassified road, known locally as the Long Line. 2 men believed to be the robbers were seen at nearby Stirling Services about 20 minutes before the robbery occurred. Witnesses have been able to give descriptions. The first man is in his mid-20s build, 6 foot with short cropped ginger hair and a prominent nose. His accomplice was also white, 25 to 30 years old, 5'10", medium build with dark hair. Both have Scottish accents. If you can help in any way, please call Central Scotland Police on 0786 456 000. That's 0786, the code for Stirling, 456 000.
Next, officers from Bromley need your help to solve a luckily rare but particularly nasty attack on a woman in a multi-storey car park. The Hill car park is just off Beckenham Lane, close to Bromley High Street. At about 9 a.m. on Saturday, the 18th of September, the woman left her car on the 2nd level. She returned a few minutes later and a man helped open the door for her. As she passed through, he grabbed her. He beat her unconscious, then sexually assaulted her. She'd fought back, and as a result, we believe his face and the back of his hands may be severely scratched. His clothes might also be blood-stained. An item of the woman's clothing was recovered on the top floor of the car park, so perhaps the attacker parked here, or he may have left on foot. He's in his early 30s, about 5'9", muscular build with fair shoulder-length hair and gold-rimmed glasses. He was wearing a khaki zip-up bomber jacket, a cream shirt and dark grey jeans. If you recognise him, please call the police at Bromley on 081 697 9571. That's 081 697 9571.
Detectives in London need your help to catch the gang thought to be responsible for 23 armed robberies in 2 years. The thieves target well-known high street stores in central London. While most have been clustered around Oxford Street in the West End, they also operate in neighbouring areas. One of the most recent robberies was on May the 26th this year. 2 armed men entered this store in the King's Road shortly after it opened. They handcuffed 3 members of staff, then robbed the safe. One man is 5'8", late 20s, of medium build with a slight moustache. The second also has a neat moustache, is in his late 20s, 5'10", and of stocky build. Both carried Luger-type guns. Now, officers have 3 sets of handcuffs from that robbery and many, many more from similar raids. The handcuffs from Taiwan are not unusual in themselves, but what is unusual is the quantity or frequency with which someone is buying them. If you've sold a volume of handcuffs or can identify these men, please call the Metropolitan Police on 071 925 1212. That's 071 925 1212. And there's a substantial reward being offered for information leading to the prosecution of this gang.
And perhaps you recognise this man. Colleagues need to speak to him in connection with an armed robbery in West London. On Thursday, September the 2nd, this Ford Sierra was stolen from Hounslow West Underground Station car park. The next day, it was used as a getaway car in a robbery outside Barclays Bank in South Ealing. When a Brinks security van arrived at 9:45 a.m. to make a delivery, the guards noticed a man working outside the nearby tube station. Thinking it was a council road sweeper, they continued the delivery undeterred. On the second journey, the road sweeper approached one of the guards and knocked him to the ground. He threatened him with a gun and snatched the money. The robber escaped in the stolen white Sierra, which had been waiting around the corner in Airedale Road. It was found abandoned nearby in North Road. The driver is 35 to 40, about 6 foot with long dark hair, and he was wearing a grey anorak. The gunman's also white, in his 40s, and was also about 6 foot and very stocky. He had a dark complexion and was wearing a black cap and fluorescent yellow jacket. If you have any information, please call Scotland Yard on free phone 0800 555 111. That's free phone 0800 555 111.
And the number here live in the studio, 0500 600 600. 0500 600 600.
Our last case this evening is a wages raid on a small factory in Hull. It's the kind of crime we tend to assume has no particular victims because the stolen money is repaid by the insurers. But for anyone who's directly involved, peace of mind is much more difficult to reclaim. The robbery took place 7 weeks ago and members of the factory staff who were caught up in the attack are still receiving counselling as a result of what they went through. Our reconstruction begins 2 days before the robbery in Southport on Merseyside.
Southport Police can help you. What, you're reporting a stolen motor vehicle? Just hold on a moment and I'll take some details. It was a white Cavalier. So that's Golf 559 Foxtrot Kilo Bravo.
The following night, the car was 130 miles away, in a residential street in Hull.
It was about 11:45 that night. I was coming home from my boyfriend's house, and it was very dark, but the street light was catching a car, a big white car. It was Vauxhall Cavalier. I went from this area because I know all these cars on the street.
Next morning, Thursday the 22nd of July, at the Atlas Caravan factory about 1.5 miles away.
Good afternoon, Atlas Caravans. Can I help you?
Securicor were delivering part of the week's wages.
Hi, Bob. How are you doing?
All right, thanks.
Good.
Hi, Jackie. There you go.
Thank you. That's for you.
Lovely, thanks very much.
Did you have a good holiday?
Smashing, thanks.
Great.
See you in 3 weeks' time.
Okay, then.
Bye.
Bye.
At about the same time, in Pickering Road, a local boy remembers seeing the stolen Cavalier.
I saw this car. I thought it was a police car, so I had a look in the back because there was 3 blokes in it. One of the blokes turned real quick.
The car is now just a couple of minutes' drive away from Atlas Caravans.
Could you turn eye over for the charge hands to come pick the wages up? They're all ready now.
Can I charge hands to the office, please? Charge hands to the office, please.
Right, I'm off to get the wages.
10 minutes later in Gloucester Street by the factory's back gate.
All right, well, I'll give you a call
It was about 2 o'clock and my friend was leaving. I noticed 3 men sat in the car and I didn't think any more about it because I thought they was picking the wages up with it being Thursday. And I wish now I'd have taken more notice. I mean, I usually do, I'm quite nosy.
You know what this is? Now tell us where the money is.
There is no money, it's all gone.
Don't
It's all
lie,
gone.
we've just seen it. Now come on, show us where it is. Come on, get up.
Guns
Show me where that money
didn't
is.
frighten me
Come on,
because
go.
I just didn't think they was real. It was the baseball bat, which I knew was real, and that frightened me.
Keep moving. Now, come on, you know it's not in there.
You don't realise just what you are doing because fright really takes over you.
There's a robbery going on out there, mate.
Oh, yeah, right.
No, seriously.
Oh, come off it.
Look, I'm going to call the police.
The money! What? Where's the money?
You're not joking, Carl.
What are you
Come on,
doing?
I'll show you.
It's this way. Come on, move!
Jackie, open the door,
Get in
give
there.
them the money, do exactly what I say.
Out.
2 of the men wore balaclavas and took care to disguise their appearance. Unlike the man who seemed to be the gang's leader, who had no apparent worries about anyone recognising him.
I wouldn't normally go and pick up the wages, but because it was a holiday time, the company's shutting down for 3 weeks. There's lots of money to pick up, so I'd been asked to go along as well.
Go! Go! Right, nobody move for the next 5 minutes, or someone down in the yard gets it. Move it! Get back! Get back!
I heard a loud bang and I just knew it was a gunshot. He was really frightened. I mean, I think he was more frightened than I was.
What's that?
Looks like we've got one of those impatient drivers
Flashing
behind us.
lights.
Don't worry about it. Just keep driving. Don't worry about him. Doing fine. Going to take a right turn. My God, he's wearing a mask and yellow gloves.
If I'd have been a split second slower, I would have actually been shot and probably killed. I was fortunate I'd actually passed the window after the shot was fired, and I was only hit by the flying glass. But the glass hit me with such a force, I actually felt I'd been shot at the time.
Well, Trevor Hewson, the leader of the gang, didn't disguise himself, presumably because he's not local and didn't fear being recognised.
And that's right. Although he spoke with a strong northern accent, we don't think he comes from Hull. He's described as about 30 years of age, over 6 foot, very muscular build. He's going a little bit to seed with a beer belly. And he had fair hair, which was short at the front, but was worn in a ponytail at the back. Now, witnesses have described the ponytail as being a stronger blonde than the top, so it may have been false.
Any theories as to where they all come from?
The vehicle was stolen from Southport on Merseyside, and there's a strong possibility that the offenders come from that region.
What do you need to know about the White Cavalier, which was stolen from Southport?
It was stolen 2 nights before the robbery on the 20th of July, and we know it was seen in Hull the night before the robbery. We'd like to know where it was in between those 2 times.
Right, and not where it is now, because it's back on the road with its rightful owner, so it's only between the dates of 20th and 22nd of July.
That's right.
Among the items that were left behind after the robbery, you've brought in just a few of them. One of them is a stud, one's a cartridge, and one's some wages packets.
Yes, this is half a fastener, which is usually used on bags and may have been used or come from the bag that was used to carry the money away in. We have a 12-bore cartridge, which is Italian make, RC Champion Trap. It's fairly common and it has 7.5 gauge shot.
And these wages packets, they're identical to the ones stolen, may have been discarded somewhere.
There were over 90 wage packets stolen from the premises, and somebody may have seen somebody disposing of wage packets like this.
Right. Don't phone in on the cartridge alone, because that's quite common, but if you can give us any information on that cartridge in conjunction with the people and the places and the dates we've mentioned, then do please call. If you have any information that can help, please do give us a ring. The direct line to the Crimewatch studio is 0500 600 600, or you can ring the Humberside Police direct on 0482 856 556. There is a substantial reward in this case. The number again 0482, the code for Hull 856 556.
This month sees the return of Aladdin's Cave, our collection of cherished possessions, some of which just might be yours. If they are, or if you see something that's familiar, your call might solve several crimes at once, tying different burglaries together or cutting off supply chains to receivers. Here's Eric Knowles.
Thank you. Well, there's no shortage of wildlife on the cave this evening. Take, for example, this large oil painting. A sad story there, I'm afraid. The chips are down for that poor stag, but it is the work of a good artist, and if it's your picture, you'll know who that artist is. Attention, Walton Liddale. Yes, I said Walton Liddale. For here's a painting of St. Leonard's Church by J.W. Milliken. Now, it's one of several paintings by this artist that have been recovered by the Lancashire Police Force. Moving to North Africa, here's a fellow that you can haggle with in the bazaar. He has the appearance to be in bronze, he's painted, but in actual fact, he's just spelter, which is a polite term for zinc. Now, I do like objects from the Victorian aesthetic movement, and I'm quite smitten with this clock. Beautifully decorated with this sort of turquoise ground panel. And it was actually dedicated to a certain Mr. J. Cheeseman by a certain regiment. Now, again, if it's your clock, you'll know exactly which that regiment is. I've always promised myself a lovely George and silver cruet. Beautiful cut glass around about 1815. But with two small boys, I live in something of a danger zone at the moment, so I think that's going to have to wait for a few more years. I've always found silver a little bit cold. And for obvious reasons, I find this picture much the same. But it is, again, a very competent Dutch landscape, late 18th, perhaps early 19th century, a little bit of restoration on it, but very much a one-off, and sooner or later, I can't help but think I might see it on a Christmas card. Talking of one-offs, here's a wonderful bronze. Silvered bronze, Art Deco, 1920s, 30s, of a lion and a lioness. And when I say it's a one-off, there is not another bronze in the world like this, I can assure you. Signed, and as I said to you, a very fine object. I'd love to take it home with me this evening. I can't say the same for this. If the Victorians couldn't eat it, they usually stuffed it. And there's a cabinet full of stuffed birds, 60 and 90 of the poor things. I look rather bizarre, I'm afraid, if somewhat exotic. But if you're a fisherman, beat this if you can. You'd certainly know it if you'd hook this fella. It is bronze. And what with all the rain we've been having recently, it would certainly be at home in somebody's garden at some stage. The question is, was it once at home in your garden?
If there's anything here you recognise, the number is 0500 600 600. We've had a really tremendous response tonight. In fact, the reappeal that we opened the programme with on last month's reconstruction of the Darlington rape has produced 3 names, including one who's a goalkeeper who appears to have mislaid a shirt of the sort we showed. On the West Kensington rape, another possible victim has come forward, and we've had an avalanche of new information on that. We've had very strong calls on all the photo call cases as well. In one case, one name is a recurring theme. Debbie, incidentally, would you please call again?
Once again, the number here is 0500 600 600, and that number goes for any of our cases here tonight. The lines are open until midnight, so please do keep trying if you've had any kind of problem getting through. We'll be able to tell you more about the results we've been getting when we come back with the Crimewatch update after question time at 11:15.
And if you can't stay up till then, bear in mind we've condensed in 3/4 of an hour more serious crimes than many police officers will experience in their entire careers. And you're much more likely to help solve a violent crime that we feature than be a victim of one. So please don't have nightmares. Do sleep well. Good night.
Good night.
The ladies not for turning.
Margaret Thatcher dominated British politics for 11 years. Now she